Some architectures are designed to run systems. Others are designed to run PowerPoint presentations. The industry has become very good at the second one. The problem is not that architecture diagrams simplify reality. That part is necessary. The real problem is what gets into the diagram. Architecture slides usually show structure, boxes, layers, services, clean arrows. Everything looks understandable. Everything looks controlled and intentional. But distributed systems rarely fail because of structure. They fail because of behavior. Retries, timeouts, backpressure, latency amplification, operational coupling. All the messy mechanisms that determine whether a system survives production almost never appear in architecture diagrams. Not because architects do not understand them, but because they do not fit nicely on slides. Most experienced architects understand these mechanisms very well. They understand retries. They understand cascading failures. They understand load amplification. But those mechanisms often exist only in the architect's mental model. And if something exists only in someone's mental model, it rarely becomes part of the documented architecture, because it was never diagrammed. And if it was never diagrammed, it rarely becomes a decision record. Architecture that exists only in someone's head is not architecture. It is tribal knowledge with diagrams attached, and tribal knowledge does not scale. It does not survive team changes, and it does not survive incidents. Consider a simple architecture slide. Service A calls Service B. Service B calls Service C. 3 boxes, 2 arrows. Clean, understandable, predictive. The diagram was technically correct. Now imagine Service B becomes slow. Service A retries 5 times. Those retries multiply the load. The database behind Service B becomes saturated. Now Service B begins timing out, which triggers even more retries. The system dynamics were never documented. The architecture slide was elegant, but the reality was messy, and undocumented system behavior eventually becomes production incidents. The gap is where the danger lives. This creates what I call architectural shadow systems. One architecture exists in documentation. Another architecture exists in production behavior. And the gap between those two systems is where failures emerge. Good architecture documentation does not only describe the happy path, it documents system behavior under stress. Retries, backpressure, failure isolation, operational boundaries. These mechanisms are rarely elegant, but they are the mechanisms that keep systems alive. They are the true architecture. Architecture slides describe structure. Production failures come from system behavior. So the next time you see a beautiful architecture diagram, ask a different question. What decisions are missing? Because undocumented decisions do not disappear. They become emergent system behavior. This is systems thinking for architects.